I got into journalism around 4 because I had enough of my own bullshit going on in personal life, and journalism really changed me.
Okay,
Maybe a
so
different personality changed my true nature completely.
okay. Now my question here is the first guest that we got on, right, Akash. He got into journalism also because of certain events. Like he wasn't keen on, like, he wasn't pushing to become a journalist,
Yeah.
right? And even in your case, you weren't like
Yeah. I wasn't
striving.
trained.
You
I
weren't
trained with people.
exactly right. Is that a common thing?
Unfortunately, it's not anymore. And I have my opinions. I think journalists who come from other professions and other walks of life make far better journalists. I have nothing against all you graduates from journalism schools, but I think journalism schools are a joke. It is because you don't need specialization in journalism. You need people with life experience. You know, in the early business world that I worked in, a lot of people came from the banking community. Or a lot of people were career journalists, people who just started off without any journalism background. They came from BSc statistics, BSc mathematics.
But all
Some of them
that,
came from IIMs, some of them are chartered accountants.
but that gives them that
Yeah.
credibility in terms of the industry, right? Like for example, you did your MBA,
I did my MA in international communications,
right?
which basically is a combination of finance and political science.
Correct. So it gives you an understanding of that sector itself, and that basically makes you a better journalist because you already have an insight of the industry, right? Does that make sense?
I'll tell you how it made sense. I'm not disagreeing with you. You need to have a background when you come to journalism. You need to have a certain worldview. It need not be a subjective worldview. You need to have, when I say worldview, it is a worldview that's open-minded. Open-mindedness, a little ability to learn, curiosity, and you love writing is what makes you a good journalist. And you want to discover stories. It's all about storytelling, right? You need to discover, and networks. Journalism is about networks. So if you have that network, and you already worked in that network, you'd make a great, fantastic journalist. You need not be a great writer because there are people who edit your stories. In my case, I was a bit of everything,
Got it.
right? I could write, but I was not a great writer. At least I think I'm a good writer now, but I don't know. So I'm writing, in fact. Then there were times when I didn't have the network. We've discussed this in the past. I always thought I'd never have a network. I do have the network now,
Right.
which is amazing, right? And finally, my curiosity and my love for life is what's kept me alive and in journalism. And like I said, I mean, I only left journalism in these 20 years only for, say, 6 months, 9 months, in give or take 9 months. I'm back at it. I can't live away from it. Now I'm an entrepreneur by myself. But once a journalist, I think you're always going to think, you're going to have that curiosity for life. You're always going to be anti-establishment for a while. But when you run a business, you can't be anti-establishment also.
That's one of my things with journalists, right? Now when people that are trained to be a journalist come and start writing stuff, they take it in a, I feel like they take it in a very idealistic sense of things, right?
Superb. Great point. You're right.
And whether it's politics or it's business, right? They when they write from their point of view, it becomes very idealistic, and just the whole idea of the information gets corrupted.
Some people will take offense to you.
I'm sure.
And that'll be good if that's. But yes, you're right. A lot of people come in. The question should be, did I come with ideals? I did. I came from Leeds, which is supposed to be a school, which is a socialist school. I think ideals are good, but you need to also have grounded reality, and the grounded reality is the knowledge that you have of subjects. But we are very subjective. Journalists don't have the time. Gore Vidal made a great Gore Vidal, the author. He made a famous quote. Okay, he said, if you want to tell the truth, you got to be a writer. If you want to lie, you have to be a journalist. Seriously, I've come to believe in it nowadays. It's because it's half truths maybe. Because of timelines, deadlines, pressure of the organization. I think you're absolutely right. That form of idealism, you should not be carried away. Again, in my school, they thought, don't get carried away by your own propaganda. And sometimes journalists do.
Correct. And if this part makes it into the podcast, I feel like
It
we have a
should.
lot of journalists that are.
Let it make it in the podcast. What stops you? I think we are living in a free society. Are we a free society or not?
No, we're not.
Why?
We don't have free speech.
I have not had trouble. I've said a lot of stuff anyway. I haven't gotten into trouble. But I've had people take me to court for certain times. But that's not trouble. You could say whatever you want, man. I think you should not edit this out. I'm putting it out there.
Got it. Okay, done. Last question around journalists. If like for a journalist who's a fresher who's just trying to get
Yeah.
into the industry, how much do journalists make right now?
They don't make money. No, seriously, I think for a country of this size, I can't believe they don't pay their journalists well. Seriously, it's
Free news is not appreciated. Like you need to sell
the
out
models
to be
have
able
changed.
to.
The business model has changed. Obviously, free news is not appreciated, but there was a world of subscription that made up for that.